Like, if you were to Google the definition of an adventure book, this book should definitely pop up. What is up, book babes? Welcome back to a new video, new guys on my YouTube channel. You are always welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Keionna, for those of you who don't know, and thank you guys so much for finding your way here. And now that you are here, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video to better help this channel grow. Today's discussion video is for our January 2022 book club pick, this bold and daring read, Children of Blood and Bone, by a phenomenal writer by the name of Tomi Adeyemi. This book is a young adult Nigerian fantasy fiction novel set in the world of Orisha, where there is some form of magic. This is the first book to the Orisha trilogy, and I think I also want to read the second book just based off the strength of this first book being such a good read, even though some people were saying that the second book wasn't that good. And there's even talk that there's going to be a third novel coming out very soon, and also a motion picture that is being adapted. So I am very excited to see how well the film is going to be adapted from the book. Now, before we get into the discussion, I just want to start this off by saying that I rated this book a 4 stars. At first I rated it 3 stars, but then after like careful review, I had to like go back and like reevaluate, and it actually deserved a 4 stars for me personally. So in this discussion, I'm going to basically be walking you guys through why I rated this book 4 stars on Goodreads. I have divided my review into 5 sections, so I'm going to start with the world. I love how the world in this book is formed. It is very fantasy-esque, and I love the pacing in this book. It is a very great pacing for such a high energy fantasy novel. The world is very colorful and vivid, and I just love how this book makes me just feel so warm. Like, I haven't read many books that make me feel quite like that, so I just really enjoyed how warm this book makes me feel. This book really sets the standard for young adult fantasy. It really ignited that fire of wanting to read fantasy books again for me, because I've read fantasy books here and there, but this one really had me in its grip. We learned more about the culture of Orisha through this fantasy novel, and I really want to read more Nigerian or African literature because I feel like there is not enough representation there. I feel like there's always more room for representation in that genre. If you guys have any recommendations, please feel free to reach out to me and, you know, share your recommendations with me down below. The next section of this review that I want to discuss is the story. This is the first real adventure book that I feel like I've read. Like, if you were to Google the definition of an adventure book, this book should definitely pop up. There's literally a new adventure on each page of this book, and it kept me on my toes. The cadence of this book crescendos and decrescendos so frequently, and it's just action, adventure packed back to back. So it definitely was a ride. At times I really just wanted to get to the actual plot of the story because this book was so long and the story just kind of like carried on and on, that I just really wanted to get to the plot of the entire book. It's a very thorough book. It's narrated by 3 of the characters, so that really allows for the readers to get multiple perspectives and just read the book from an all-around perspective, and I really enjoy that style of writing. I don't really know of any other books that do that, so I really enjoyed that factor about the style of writing in this book. The fighting scene in the arena is my least favorite part of the book because it was just super long-winded and it went on for several chapters. Also, just didn't really get into the whole fighting scene in the arena aspect of it, because of course, what would any fantasy novel be without a sword fight, a good fighting scene? But I don't think that this particular fighting scene being set in an arena was the best fight that this book had saw, in my opinion. Yes, this book also has a romantic persuasion as well. I just love how the romance between Zelly, our main character, and Inan are woven so seamlessly into the plot, and it's such a slow burn, enemies to lovers type of romance. I feel like it just adds to how good the book is overall. But another unpopular opinion that I have, and this might actually contradict the last statement that I just made, but Honestly, I feel like I could have lived without the romance between Zelly and Inan because it was sort of cringy to see our main character be so vulnerable to this guy, because initially she showed us how strong-willed that she was, and I just feel like it was a weak moment for her, and I feel like I could have done without that romance, and I feel like the story would have still been just as good. Zayn and Amari were cute, and I think that's how you pronounce his name. They were cute. I feel like if played up a little bit more or in the right way, that would have still been a really good spin in the romance department. However, I have not read the second book yet, so I'm not sure if that romance sort of like unfolds a little bit more, but I'm just gonna have to read that to figure that out, right? Moving on to the characters. So Amari is my favorite character out of them all because she is the princess and she's kind-hearted, but she's also very tough, and I feel like I resonate most with her character. Another downside to this book is that a lot of the characters, like the secondary characters, are not fleshed out very well. We met so many different characters along the way that I just was not prepared to meet, and they weren't very memorable, and I just kind of thought that that was a downside because I didn't really get a chance to develop any sort of emotional investment or attachment to these characters, and yet they all somehow had something to do with the plot in the end of the story. So I just didn't think that it was the best aspect of the book, that they didn't really make a lasting impression on me as much as I had hoped that they would. The last section of this book review is the book length. I can't believe I really read this 500 plus page book to the very end. It's one of the longest books I think I've read to date. Well, actually no, I think the Diviners books were pretty big as well. I'm really glad that I made it through this book because it does get really good towards the end of the book. So if you are having trouble or difficulty like getting through the book, I would suggest that you finish it. Like, try to hang in there and see your way through it because it does really get good towards the end of the book. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for watching this video to the very end. This was a really nice review and discussion for Reading Out Loud Book Club. This was Reading Out Loud Book Club's January book club pick. I know we're kind of running a little behind here. Be sure to check the Reading Out Loud Book Club Instagram page. I've already announced the February read, and I'm going to be announcing the March read very, very soon. So make sure you guys are staying up to date with that. Follow the Instagram page. I'm so excited for this year and all that is to come. Make sure you guys also follow me on my personal Instagram and Twitter pages as well. All of my information is going to be in the description bar down below, so make sure you guys check that out. I think I'm going to end this video here, and I will see you guys in the comments. Feel free to leave me your comments on Children of Blood and Bone. If you have read it, if you haven't read it, whatever like questions you may have about the book, I am so willing to answer any questions you guys may have. I will see you guys in our next video, our next book club video, so stay tuned. I love you all and talk to you soon.